Later. We got about 2 minutes here.
The promise of rags to riches success is part of show business mythology. But for most would-be stars, it remains just that, a myth. Not so for the Judds, who got their big break in 1983 and made the most of it. In 1989, 6 years into their remarkable careers, they looked back with NBC's Bob Costas.
And you became a mother while still in your teens, and then that marriage breaks up, and you're trying to make it on your own, and you're pretty darn close to tapped out broke.
Yeah.
Where did the turning point come?
Wow. Face it, folks, we're just a miracle. And it was a miracle that it happened. Yeah. I mean, we walked into RCA Records with a guitar and got signed. And at that point in our lives, I mean, I didn't know what was going on. I was 18 years old. I mean, I was...
Did you just knock them dead with the demo, or was it something about your appearance? Or?
We sang
We didn't have a demo. We didn't have a demo. We didn't have an 8x10.
We didn't have an 8x10.
We didn't have a
which
clue.
is unheard of in this business, I guess. And we got signed on the spot. Second single goes #1. To be honest with you, Mom and I were so tired we quit fighting because we just didn't have the energy. We were so busy keeping up with...
Okay, hit me.
Yeah.
Naomi, I know you had been a nurse for a long time, so that must have represented some sort of income. But you see stories that said, you know, the heat had been turned off and you were really totally impoverished. What's the truth of it?
That's pretty true.
Yep.
That's the truth of it.
I mean, I have a diary at home that talks about, I mean, we went like, it was almost a week without running water because the pipes had froze. And,
it was 5 days.
5 days, yeah.
5 days.
There were times, I mean, we talk about it, but there were times, and I think that's why so many women relate to Mom because of where she was at 5, 6 years ago even. And the way things happened and the way that now, it's so nice to sit back and watch her do these things like own a car and be able to go out and buy nice clothes and do these things that so many people aren't blessed with.
What's the worst it ever gets? Out there on the road, after all, the two of you are rubbing elbows constantly, and there are normal mother-daughter frictions, family frictions.
When Mommy doesn't get her sleep, my world becomes totally... I mean, there are days. It's funny because there are so many positives. I mean, I know people think that all we do is sit around and, you know, drink tea and be mom and daughter and everything's wonderful. I mean, there are days when I would just love to be singing at home, watching TV, no makeup on, you know, wearing my nightgown all day and eating everything in the refrigerator, you know. And I realize, though, that...
Sounds like a perfect life to me.
Yeah, but everybody that I speak to every day when we get in those towns and I'm standing in the hotel and some girl comes up to me and says, I sing in the, you know, in the lounge here, I would give anything to be doing what you're doing. I kind of go, whoops.
Well, no, Sundays are kind of hard.
There are days when I am a kid that I want to go home, I get homesick, but what Mom and I are going through, I mean, we have to constantly pull together. You know, there are times I can tell that Mom's tired or her spirits are low, and vice versa, and we have to kind of, that's why it's so nice that there's 2 of us. You get 2 for the price of 1.
Is it better on stage if the 2 of you are getting along well, or doesn't it make any difference? Or there's a professional side where you can put it aside, so if you had a terrible fight this afternoon and couldn't stand each other, you could still go on stage tonight and it would click just as well.
If we had had a fight right before we came out here to sit in these chairs, you guys would know about it right now. You'd be ducking. I mean, we are totally candid. We do wear our hearts on the sleeves. With us, our music expresses our emotions, our life, our value system, everything. With us, what you see is exactly
People
what
can
you
tell,
get.
too. I mean, there are times, I mean, when we have to get out the helmets on the Judd bus, you know, and just go at it.
But they can't tell on stage, though, right?
I tell you what we do. In all honesty,
I think the American public sees through stuff. I have to give them credit. I think they know a rhinestone from a diamond. I think they see phonies.
If the Judds' lives were an open book, then the news that came less than a year later would be the most disturbing chapter yet. In October 1990, Naomi was diagnosed with hepatitis. It would force her retirement, what seemed at the time like a permanent end to the Judds. Still to come, Wynonna on her own. Naomi's long road to recovery.
I'm in complete remission.